You just want me to start telling the story?
Start telling the story, and then Jake will pop in with commentary.
Okay, that sounds like fun. So we took a couple days off of work. Jake and I were going to go deer hunting, and we left a lot earlier than we wanted to. We were calling it bonus day because we got probably about a couple hours to hike before dark. So then we made it back in a spot. I think it was about 2.5-3 miles the first night, and we just started hiking late.
This was like good, like sunny weather, or was it still? Because we've had really hot weather, then we had really foggy, rainy weather.
It was.
It wasn't sunny.
No, it wasn't sunny. It was foggy on the way in. Actually.
Yes, very foggy. So yeah, we just started hiking in the fog, and then we just pretty much head down and just marching. Like we took very, very little breaks, if any, and then we just kept going. And then it finally got dark, and we're like, okay, we're next to water, and then we'll set up camp, and then we'll just get up early and do it again. And we had watched the weather before. We were supposed to have, I think Sunday was supposed to be cloudy, and then everything else was supposed to be sunny and partly cloudy. So we're like, oh, sweet, this is perfect. This is perfect for hunting. So we get going, set up camp the first night, wake up early, eat some breakfast, and then
it was really foggy that morning.
Really foggy, but we were close to the Alpine, so we're like, well, it's supposed to just break, so we'll just get going and start.
Was it just like sitting there, or was it kind of moving? Because sometimes it feels like it's about ready to break because it's moving. Other times it just sits there and you're just in the soup.
It was like soup.
Yeah, this one was soup and
split pea soup.
Yep, and really thick. So we had started. It was windy the night before, so we were like, okay, it's windy and foggy the night before, so chances are it's just we're gonna get up, it's gonna burn off, and the wind will help push it away, and we're gonna be hunting before 9 a.m. Yeah, it's not the case. We sat around till noon, and we're just like, we had to practice some real patience, just because we're both hard-headed, and we're just like, go, and if we jump a deer, cool, shoot it. If not, but we're like, no, let's just wait. We had to keep telling ourselves we have 4 days, and yesterday was bonus day. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we took quite a bit of time for this, and it was a lot of fun just so we could actually wait. So then I think it broke around noon, 1:30.
We got so impatient we ended up setting the tent back up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
took a nap,
which was good because we found another spot that we came back to. So we had camped there twice, one on the way in and then one on the way out. Mm-hmm. So, which was pretty cool. And then, we hung around, woke up from our mid-morning nap, and then it was about 1:30, and then ate some lunch, and then we started hiking again, and that's when we started getting into some deer way off in the distance, and then we started, and then got over there. And
you say way off in the distance. Were you like bino glassing? Were you sitting down and using your spotter? What were you? How were you finding this?
A little bit of both. So we started with our binos, and then just to see what we were looking at. Then that's when we pulled out the spotter. So just to see what we had going on there, and how big they were. So we had found some, and we haven't been back to this. We have been in the spot before, but we haven't been back this far, which was up and over another mountain. So, which normally we're like, okay, we'll just get up there to the Alpine, and then we'll just hunt, and then not shoot the first thing, but try to find some good deer. So, then we got back in there. Day goes on. We ended up shooting 2 bucks right before dark. Wait, was that 2 bucks right before dark that day?
Yes.
And then, so I shot mine. It was a 4x3 with eye guards in the velvet. And then when
I'm calling him the regress because he looked like a regress buck to me.
Yeah, he had some mass to him. He was pretty cool deer. I was extremely bummed when he fell off the cliff. It was probably about 150 to 200 foot cliff. And my first shot, I pulled. I didn't have the best rest, but I took a couple practice shots. Catch my breath. And I'm just like, okay, that deer's not going to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. He knows something's over here, but he's not scared. Like, he's not ready to run off. So long story short, take a practice shot, and then I shoot, and I pulled, and I felt myself pull, but I could hear that the bullet had hit something. I was just like, oh, crap. But then he had fallen down a couple times because Jake was watching. He was keeping his eye on him through his binos, and he's like, okay, the deer fell down. And then
the last time he fell down, he literally had his feet up in the air. I thought he keeled over and died.
Yeah.
And then he got back up.
Yeah. So
that's like some mountain goat type stuff there.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
It was really weird. And so I was like, okay, well, and this happened in all like 5 minutes, and for like 4 minutes of it, I was sitting there going, "You dumbass! You pulled on your rest, and you didn't make a good shot. Now the deer's going to get away, potentially fall off this cliff." So then I was like, okay, I need to find a better spot. Found a better spot, like 15 feet away. Go over there, jack another round in the chamber, and I'm like, okay. From this time, he's 200 yards away. The shot wasn't far. It was first one was 175 yards, and so then I put another round in him, and it turns out it hit right behind the front shoulder because I found my bullet. It was on the opposite side of the shoulder. So the second shot was good, but he still ended up falling off a cliff. I was like, dang it. So, and as soon as we started shooting, we were like, okay, well, those other bucks are going to be skedaddling now, so we need to go over. And Jake put the smack down on a nice one too. So
yeah, if I remember correctly, we said let's go get the packs because they were over by where the other bucks were because we were on the tippy top of that peak in this like weird. It's kind of weird. It was like a muskeg on top, and it was brushy all the way around it.
Yep. So yeah, I shot my deer, and then we ran over real quick, shot his, and then we were gonna go take care of mine first, and then we were gonna come down and take care of Jake's. Well, mine had fallen off this cliff, and we had to climb down this rocky little chute, about 200 feet into this big rock chute pile thing. It wasn't super steep once we got down into it, but with the way the terrain was set up, it was like this gradual chute, and then this big rock bluff thing that he was on top of, and then it must have been like his final, like, screw you, I'm out of here type of thing, because he was in the bushes up there, and then I walked over there, I saw blood, and I'm like, uh-oh, he's getting closer to the edge, and then I look down there, there's this buck piled up. I'm like, oh, it's just not the way you want the deer to take his final steps or whatever. It's just not a good thing. So, anyways, we get down there and start carving up the deer, and
what's left of the deer?
Yeah, what's left? It wasn't that bad. Fortunately, there was two of us, so we were both, just doing our job, and I was boning it out. I was getting all the meat off, and Jake was boning it out.
Worked out pretty good.
Yep.
Turns out I can bone out a piece of quarter about as fast as you can get it off.
Yeah. So that worked out pretty good. And then we had to stick this deer into the backpacks and climb back up, which turned out pretty good. There was some snow. We were up pretty high. There was some snow pack in there, so we could grab water, clean off our hands and knives and stuff like that. So then, but before we had come down the chute, we had dropped all of our stuff. We just kill kit, water, headlamp, because it was getting late. So we just put those three things into our pack and one rifle just in case. So we put everything underneath the snowpack, all of our extra food and stuff and other gear, put it underneath there, and then we go down, take care of the deer, then come back up, and then we get the deer boned out, come back up, load up all of our stuff, head down to go find his deer, and then
that was about, it was getting dark at about 8:30. I think we found it at about 7:15, 7:20.
Yep.
How long was that from first shot?
First shot, I think, was around 5:30.
Okay.
So
early evening
early evening, but where we were on the backside of the ridge, and then the sun was setting, so it was already pretty dark. When we got down into the little rocky boulder chute, there was a little bit of sun down there. It wasn't too bad. Bugs weren't too bad either, so that was good. Got down to Jake's deer, and then while he was gutting out his deer, we had a plan before we come over there. We're like, okay, so if we approach from the backside of this mountain, we should be out of sight of everything. The wind should be fine, and then we can just essentially do this big circle around this big tall peak, and then we could just come out an easier way. That was not the case. So while he was boning out his deer, he's like, you want to try to find a flat spot for us to set up our tent? Because where we were, could have come up a couple hundred more feet and then found a flatter spot to set up the tent, but we were just going to stay in the vicinity just because we were going to just gut out his deer and then deal with it in the morning. So while he's dealing with his deer, I find a spot, but then I start looking for like a way out of here, and I'm looking, and I'm certain, and then it was just cliffy and steep. I don't know it all sounded good before we headed over there. We're like, okay, this is good. We just need to get up there, and then we can wrap around, and then we'll be good. Yeah, that plan fell apart quick that night because
the wheels fell off the bus, as they say.
yeah, big time. And so I come up after doing a little bit of surveying, and Jake's like, well, did you find a spot? Well, yeah, I found a spot. It's not very flat, but it's flat-ish. So fortunately, it's just like 30 feet away. And I was like, but it's not looking good for getting back the way we wanted to go. And that's when I was like, oh, crap. We messed up. And because the way we came up was way back in there, we had to come down the mountain and then back up. Well, back up was steep. And at one point, there was probably a 10 to 15-foot section that if you fell, you were going to end up at the bottom of just one of those where it's just gradual for like 500 feet, steep rolling hill, couple rocks and stuff, virtually no brush to hang on to, and then it just cliffed out from underneath there.
Consequences.
Yeah, big time. So one point on the way up, we had crossed something like that, and 5 feet of that, 7 feet of that, there was nothing to hang on to. So it was like, it was a little bit sketchy. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people would have crossed that, but we kind of know the comfort levels and the limits and stuff, and the plan wasn't to come back down this way. And yeah, that plan fell apart, so we had to come back down the way we didn't want to come down. So, which was fine. So
you had trekking poles. Do you have spikes?
No, we didn't bring our micro spikes with us. I don't know if Jake has any. We had talked about it. I was like, man, I would really love to have some micro spikes up here. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what I told him at one point.
About 3 times.
Yeah. And I was like, maybe I'll get some crampons for next time. So, but so we got his deer boned out the next morning, set up camp. The night before, slept, felt better in the morning. We're like, okay, we're going to bone your deer out, and then we're going to go take a closer look. Both of us will walk down there, no packs. We'll just bring a rifle just in case, a bear or whatever wants to, run into us. We'll just deal with that. So we go searching around for a couple 100 feet down and looking around and not really seeing a whole lot, seeing about what I saw the night before. Just steep cliff, ravine type terrain that was going to be sketchy with any pack on to try to get through. So we're like, okay, now we're like level-headed, slept a little bit. We're still tired, but we've had breakfast. We slept, some coffee. We weren't doing anything until we had some coffee and got his deer boned out. And now we're like back to square one. So we're like, okay, now we got to get out of here. The way to get out of here is to go back the same way we came, which is what we didn't want to do. And
after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
so that started, I think, at 9:30 in the morning after.
It was about 9:30, yeah.
Yeah, so we started hiking then, and it was, let's see here, we had 2 deer down and a lot of meat to deal with, and then we had our gear. So we had planned for 4 days. I think this was the second day. So we're like, okay, it's steep. We got a long ways to go. I think that top of that mountain was 3,400, and then we were going down to 26 to 2,700 feet to this little valley type thing. So, like, okay, we'll just go do meat. We'll get it past the sketchy part, and then we'll do another load of meat, get it past the sketchy part, and then we'll just stage it there. So we do the first load. We get it a lot farther than what we were anticipating. We found this big drainage where the creek was running through Mountain Creek, and that was about 26 to 2,700 feet. Stashed the first load of meat underneath the rocks there. Go back up to the top of the peak and then back down to where our camp was. Grab the other load of meat. And this one we bring back probably to 2,800 feet, just past the sketchy part. So when I say sketchy, it's like nothing to grab onto.
Yeah.
It's morning. The vegetation is still wet, and it's just not really, there's nothing to hang on to. And if you fall, you're going to slide for quite a while, and hopefully you'll stop. And we did have our trekking poles, but I mean, we just felt like it was the safest thing to do is just do multiple trips down this steep spot, and then just because if you would have fallen, I mean, when I got home, I weighed my pack and it was 115 pounds. And you fall with that, you're in trouble.
And these are huge deer. Like the bodies on these things were pretty big. When some people were talking about boning out deer, they're talking about 35 to 40 pounds, and so they might be wondering why it took so many loads. But yeah, you get some of that steep terrain, even if you are trying to do 30 or 40 pounds, that's a lot of weight to shift. Or if you slip just a little bit, then all of a sudden your center of gravity is all jacked up.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, that, and it just adds, with the weighted pack with the dead deer and camp on your back, it just adds a whole nother level of, and especially when there's nothing to hold on to, and it's that morning dews on that, on the deer hearts and whatever, small little plants there are up there. It's just so slick. And it was like, we don't want to get hurt, and we just want to go as slow and safe as possible. So that's really, and we've never done, at least personally, I've never done 2 trips of meat ever for a deer. I'm just normally throw it on my bag and go. So not this time. And I think that was the first for Jake.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So then we got all the meat staged down past the bad parts, and then we went up, had lunch, ate so much food. It was disgusting how much food we ate this trip. So we're like, okay, we shot these deer, so then we got, a day and a half, almost 2 days extra of food. So we're like, well, we're going to eat. So we were eating gummy bears for lunch, dessert. We were eating sandwiches, and it was just so gross. And then we eat some lunch, and then load up our camp, and then we start heading down. Grab the first load of meat that was probably at about 2,800 feet, and then it's not too bad. Pack is probably 80, 90 pounds at that point, and then we go down and grab the second load.
Manageable.
Yes, manageable for the terrain that we were given, and that we felt comfortable in. And then we got to that second load and started trudging up the drainage and across the mountain, and that's when suck set in. We were, having a whole bunch of caffeine. We were drinking those. I brought some. He brought some bugleberry mountain ops. Yeah, that stuff was pretty good.
That stuff that goes right to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of caffeine.
You just
in that
feel
too.
you feel that right in your brain almost instantly.
You feel like Superman.
Yeah.
And then
vibrate would be the word I would use.
And then I had some of that Celsius drink mix, which is also like boom. Like,
we were powered by gummy bears and caffeinated drinks.
Yep. And head down, and we're just going. And
well, in Ryan's defense, we someone talked him into trying to side hill that mountain.
yes.
I don't know why, but I didn't want to go back up for some reason.
Oh, I know why. That's because we had big, heavy packs on.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, Jake's pretty confident. I put my guard down a little bit. This is a team effort. Jake's pretty confident. He's been down there before, so we'll just side hill this thing. And it was going pretty good. We were having to zigzag a little bit. And then we had zigzagged, keep going. It's like, uh-oh, this is getting steep. This is getting not fun again. So then we're just like, okay, it's getting dark. We're not going to make it back to spot B where we want to be by the end of the day before dark.
The ponds.
So this is
the ponds is what we were
an
calling
entire day of processing hiking.
Yes. Our day started, I think we were up at 5 in the morning. We were starting to bone out the deer by 6, and then we were starting the actual hike by 9. And then
Yeah, we got done boning the deer out at about 7:30, 7:45,
Yep.
or about 8 o'clock. We'll call it 8 o'clock because we went down and we spent good half hour trying to scout out a easy path on the bottom side there.
a little bit, yep.
I
That
mean-
sounds about right.
And then, by the time we got, let's put it this way, by the time we got the 3 trips over the peak and down into the valley, it was 3 o'clock, 3:30. We looked at I think I looked at my watch when we finally got everything in the packs. I mean, both loads of meat, the gear and everything else. It was 4 o'clock when we started walking this, which gave us about 4.5, 5 hours of daylight left to get to where we wanted to. And it took almost all of that to go a mile.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah, so after we get done side hilling,
I don't
and
even know if it was a full mile.
yeah, probably wasn't.
It felt like 10.
Yeah, it was a grind, which we knew that going in there. We're like, okay, we're gonna go back to no man's land, and it's gonna be,
Which is why you're going to be some nice
and,
bucks.
and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get way back at, anyways, and then we're side hilling, and then we get eventually cliffed out. We could have probably managed our way through, but then that would have meant breaking everything back down again into 3 loads, and then scaling across this thing, hanging onto berry brush and stuff, and then putting it on the other side. But the ridge was, I think we were 200, 250 feet below the ridge, so we're like making an executive decision. We got to get our crap up there, and we just need to get it up there past this other sketchy part, which wasn't near as bad as anything else. That was a cakewalk compared to what we had just done. So we're like, we need to get it up there, and then we need to come back down and get everything back up there. So broke our packs down into manageable size loads, and then we went up there real quick, and then came back down. And this was, I think we started shuttling at like 7 o'clock, and it's getting dark at 8:30.
Yeah, and you,
We
when you
boogie.
get to go time, your head is down and you're going. It's like, hey, Ryan,
Yeah.
everything's right here. He's about 75 feet down there. I don't know where it's at.
yeah, that,
Dude, let me know if you see it.
yeah, that was on the way back down after the second load, because I was like, it's getting dark. If we're not on that ridge, we are going to be probably in trouble. And if all of our gear and meat is probably not in our pack, then we're going to be in trouble. We're not going to get to our spot, which wouldn't have been terrible, just wouldn't have gone as planned, would have taken longer the next day, and our stuff would have been scattered around the hill. So I was like, as long as we're on the ridge in the dark, past the little narrow deer trails that if you fall off, you're probably going to get hurt, not die, but hurt.
Which sometimes might even be worse.
Yeah, because then you're stuck back there with a broken leg, and it's like, ugh. But yeah, so luckily we made it back to spot B that we were calling the ponds, because there was a pond there, and with some pretty good drinking water. And luckily we made it back there just right before we had to break out the headlamps. And that took, so we started hiking at 9. We got back there probably 8 or 8:30. So
I think it was about 8:10.
yeah,
So I remember the goal was 8:30, and we shaved off 20 minutes. Well, actually, the goal originally was 2 o'clock. Oh, we got this.
oh yeah. And as
Yeah.
we were setting up the tent, we were like, man, what a humbling experience. That thing kicked our butt, something fierce. And then we're just sitting there. Whew, we are not as tough as we think we are. Not even close. Because, yeah, we were like, oh, yeah, bonus miles. We'll just get over there at 2 o'clock, make a fire, roast up some tenderloins, and beat feed in the morning, or see if we can't get farther tonight. That was a joke.
Not happening.
That was a joke. Excuse me. So, yeah. And then, so we set up camp that second night. And then we ate some dinner. Again, just ate way more food than one person probably should have. Jake was getting firewood, and I was setting up a little alarm system for the meat, because we had stashed our meat close to our tents, but into some trees. And then we tied some cups together with a little like 550 cord all the way around it, so if anything hit the cord, it would shake the cups and clank and clank. Yeah. So hopefully it would wake us up. I think a truck could have ran us over and not even budged us. So Jake was making a fire. We were getting dinner ready. We were filtering some water. long story short, went to bed that night, and then the alarm went off at 5 the next day. We didn't start moving until about 5:30, which
Your
is
like phone alarm, not like the cup alarm.
oh yeah, sorry. So luckily the cup alarm for the meat did not go off at all. So
It didn't go off until I took the cups off, and I clanked it a couple of times.
yes.
And this is this is Southeast Alaska, but black bear territory more than brown bear. So it's not like you're being really cavalier with the concentration of brown bears in the area is not.
Not very many.
Yeah, you're not on a fognack. Just saying, not a big deal. Camping with the meat as your pillow.
Yeah, and we weren't like, we just had our meat pack. So obviously we don't want to get woken up in the middle of the night. We don't want anything to steal our meat or whatever. So we're just, taking all the precautions.
Yeah.
So putting it away from camp, and then we didn't hang it in trees. We put it in some low brush so it was still off the ground.
Sometimes you can't. There's no trees.
Yeah.
There's just kind of hide it.
Yeah. So and then also I heard somewhere, like, if you pee around like stuff to claim, the bears or whatever, they're gonna smell it and they'll be like, okay, yeah, this is something else. So we were kind of not peeing on our meat, of course, but just around like the border and
hesitate,
making our scent known, like somebody's here type of thing. So I don't know if it worked. We didn't have any visitors, so that's a good thing.
We still have the gut piles that weren't too far away. You got bones and stuff, so there's something else for them to kind of get at.
Yeah,
At that point, those bones and gut piles were a good
2.5 miles away, I'd say.
Yeah.
It took us like that long. It took us all day to get like 2.5, 3 miles. So might have been 4. I can't remember, but it was a lot of ups and downs. So
That's not as the crow flies, though.
no, that's GPS. Yeah, that's feet on the ground. I guess GPS miles. So
On X miles.
on X miles, yeah.
As
So
the crow flies, I bet it was probably about 1.5 miles.
yeah, oh yeah, which is on a whole nother ridge away. So
Yeah.
you got to come down and come back up. But yeah, so our phone alarms go off about 5, and we finally start grumbling or rumbling and moving about 5:30. It's like, okay, it's time for some coffee, eat some food. Legs are a little stiff, body's a little stiff. And we get up, and it's raining. It started raining sometime that night because it was raining on the tent, and everything was wet, which didn't bother the meat any. I think the meat was covered up pretty good. And then we shoved everything back in our packs after eating some breakfast and drinking a bunch of water and filling up our Nalgene's for the day ahead. And we started hiking, I think, about 7:30. So, which was the first time I hiked out with just my rain gear and bottoms on underneath. I didn't have my hunting pants on underneath them like I normally do, and I felt like it kept me drier. Everything was wet. So, but I never really got cold until I stopped moving because we were taking a lot of breaks on the way down because there was a lot of ups and downs. But so that seemed to work out pretty good. It was just one foot in front of the other at that point. It was just okay, and then finally we made it back about, I think, was that 2 o'clock? Yeah, I think it was about 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So 7 to 2. So not terrible. I think that was like 5 miles, something like that. So wasn't too terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I've never packed out that much for two days down here. So it was pretty good. It was a humbling experience, and we got some nice deer out of it. Bummed that mine took a tumble.
It's a one deer area from here on out.
Yeah, 1 deer per 2 people. Yeah.
And how much? What was the weight of the meat you guys got?
I got 63 pounds of boned out meat.
I got 73.
Jeez.
Yeah. We had mine. There was a little we salvaged what we could, what we felt was the best, which was, the best that anybody could do in that situation. Falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
tasted pretty dang good. Now we got meat in the freezer. So
Yeah.
I'm already down a back strap.
yeah. I'm having some more for dinner tonight. So
It's all gone already.
all of it?
No, just one.
Oh, not surprised.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of meat. I think the website says like 47 is like the kind of the max expectant. Obviously they're bigger deer.
What
but,
website are we speaking of?
I think the Fish and Game. I think they put the.
That's the government. They don't know what they're talking about.
They're like, yeah, make it like a 47 or something like that, so it sounds precise, but really, who knows what it is? But yeah, shoot, those are some big deer.
Yeah, and that's not like we knew we were going to have a hellacious pack out, so it's not like we were leaving all the fat on them because they had a good half-inch to inch of fat in some areas, and we weren't keeping that stuff on there. So, I mean, we weren't picking it out of the ribs or anything, but like the big fat cap that was over the hindquarter was like, yeah, all that's coming off. But yeah, they were just some big body deer. They were pretty impressive. So I took a photo of mine before I shot it, and he's a beauty. Big old belly dragger of a deer. You can see the swoop in his back. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's the picture you sent me through the spotter?
Yep.
It's crazy because he's just standing in this area like he's a town deer.
Yep.
Just this nice little flat patch of grass.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, he knew it helped that the sun was at our backs and it was pointing towards him. So the sun was kind of in his eyes. He knew that something was in the brush. He just didn't know what.
Yeah.
So,
according to the Fish and Game website here, average October live weight of an adult Sitka blacktail deer is 80 pounds for does, 120 pounds for bucks. Although 200-pound bucks have been taken, the dressed weight of a 100-pound deer is about 60 pounds, yielding about 35 pounds of meat. So I guess if you double that, you guys are probably in the 200-pound range?
probably.
So
Yeah. So we tried moving his deer.
70.
Yeah, we tried moving his deer, and, well, it made us both grumble.
Yeah, that's the one I shot. I'd shot a 4-point before, and a lot of times you just think of the points on the antlers or the antlers as an indicator of how big the deer is. But then you get one of those massive body ones where you're looking at the antlers and you think, this is a really nice buck. But because the body is so stinking big, your proportions are off. And you think, oh, this is a mega buck. This is a next tier type buck that I hadn't even seen before. People talk about it, and you think, okay, yeah, whatever, man, whatever. You and your 215-pound buck. How did you weigh that? Right? Did you take a scale up there? Did you take the whole thing home? But then you start to see that upper tier type level. I think your buck is bigger than the one that I've shot. With mass, size, everything, but the one that I got that was in that upper level I hadn't even touched before. I think, there's a lot of there's some big boys out there.
Oh yeah, yep, for sure. And this one, he wasn't super tall and he wasn't super wide. He was just he had a lot of mass, and he carried his mass just up. And I mean, 3x4, that's with some pretty good eye guards. I mean, that's a pretty good deer. But yeah, he was just thick all the way up, and he was a beautiful deer. So yeah, very happy with it. Just bummed because when he took a stumble, busted the rack. So I was like, oh, well, that's just part of it. So, but I got both the antlers. One of them was dented. None of the tines busted off. So I mean, I got that to look back on the memory. So after the meat's all gone.
Biggest bodied buck you shot?
No, I think the biggest bodied buck was one I shot in the rut with my wife. So that one was just monster. I mean, this one was a big deer, but that one had that, I like to describe them as like the bulldog chested deer, where they're just mostly just, this thing took me everything I had to drag it out of a muskeg, and there was no incline at all. So
you got to remember, we're still in August. These deer will feed for another month and a half, 2 months before they get their neck swollen up and want to go fight.
Well, yeah, but they'll lose all their fat before they go start duking it out. So
well, I mean, they'll lose their fat, but they're going to gain muscle there. I mean, if you at the end of October, they're usually bigger body deer. I mean, yeah, you're right. By the end of November, there's no more fat left.
Yeah.
But by like the beginning of October, beginning of November, they're the biggest they're going to be for the year.
Yeah. Just that was probably the second or third biggest bodied buck that I've shot. So, they were big deer.
Yeah. What about you, Jake? How does this compare to the previous ones you got?
5th biggest.
5th?
Yeah.
Yeah, he shot some big deer. We were in a spot last year. I nicknamed one the Mountain Donkey, and that thing was freaking huge.
Yeah, that thing probably. He had that one when I weighed came out. It was 83 3 pounds
Jeez.
of meat off of the mountain donkey.
Yeah.
And then
I helped him bone out that one that I nicknamed Mountain Donkey, and I say that just in kind of a funny way. He was just a big deer, and I pull up hind quarter after I got it off the bone, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna be hurting today, buddy, because this is a heavy back. Oh my gosh, it was a big deer.
That was the one where you had taken a, what was that, a 2x3?
Yeah, I shot a little dinky. I got all excited and shot a little dinky, and first it was after we got back from Caribou, and we waited a couple weeks, and then we went up to the Alpine, and I hadn't shot a deer yet, so the first deer I got all Twitter pated and shot, which I'm happy I got. Just meat in the freezer, but it was easily half the size of the.
There's the mountain donkey.
Yeah, just a monster. The thing is,
he's
just
probably
huge.
the third biggest deer I've shot.
And the proportions. I mean, if you look just at the antlers, you think, oh, that's a really nice buck. And then you add the body, think, what is that? That's like
that's a mule deer.
It's a mule deer with blacktail antlers.
He shot another one in a no-name, unnamed spot that was just as big as that one. That was the biggest deer I've ever seen. Everything about this deer was big. It was a 5x6 with eye guards.
5x4.
Sorry, I don't know how to count. 5x4 with eye guards.
And that would be that one.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
And
some guys have all the luck.
Yeah. So what you just go further? Are there certain habitat that you're looking at? Like, how are you?
That's top secret information.
Top secret information.
What his secret is, I tend to not slow down unless I'm waiting on him. So I'm up there just running ahead. And then these deer stop and look, pull their heads up, stop and look. And he's just back there looking. Even when we had 2 deer on the ground, this guy back there in a 1 deer spot where we shot 2 deer, he is back there seeing what kind of deer he gets. I said, stop looking for deer. We are done hunting. Give me your gun. No, don't give me your gun because I'm not carrying that freaking heavy thing. But yeah, stop looking for deer. Mm-hmm. And so that's his secret. He's behind me. He's looking for deer because on that certain big one that he shot 2-3 years ago now, he's like, hang on a second. Give me range on that tree down there. Range it. And just out of nowhere, just boom, shoots. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jake, we just shot a couple deer. You got to stop. And then luckily, he missed his first one and I got my second one. But then we go down to this one and same thing. I'm just like, oh my gosh. There was no ground shrinkage. If anything, he got bigger when we got up closer to him and he was huge. So yeah, Jake, he shot some nice deer.
That's probably the biggest deer that I've ever shot was
Probably
that 5x4. Yeah. Probably. The only other deer that I say that is, as far as body size, is that I shot when I was 18 with my dad, and I'll say the location for this because I ain't ever going back there. You can't even hunt there. Oh, you can hunt there, but it's probably so overgrown. And
Prince
a logging
Wales
unit.
is a big island.
Well, Red Bay up in Prince of Wales.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody can go there. I don't care. Have fun. I'm never going back.
Oh, yeah.
I shot a regress, but like a really, really old regress buck. I do not have a picture of that one on my phone. I have one picture that's still left of it, but it was a 2x1, and I shot another mature fork and horn at the same time. This has been the only time I've ever shot 2 deer at once. And when I say like the fork and horn was probably in that, 100 pounds on the hoof, 35, maybe 40 pounds of meat off of it. This thing was double, if not double and a quarter its weight. It was just sheer mass. I remember being 18, full of piss and vinegar, and I had to drag it a quarter of a mile, and it took me 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez. I think when you look at what trait makes a really good hunter, and a lot of people just say, where are the deer? I have, these trekking poles or whatever it is, but patience and being able to see what other people don't is such an incredible trait. And there are people around here who don't go nearly as far as some of us younger people, but they always shoot big bucks because they just understand it. They just get it. There's a feeling that they get. There's their experience, and they're able to see stuff that a lot of people walk by. And I'm getting better at being patient, but just being able to sit behind the glass and just be able to look and just have that feel for it. And I think once that's kind of been rewarded, then you get better. But then at the same time, you have to be willing to cover ground and go, but just being able to dial it back when you need to dial it back, go when you need to go, and understand that. And I think that's what the most successful deer hunters that are getting like these sort of bucks are just like, that seems to be the consistent thing.
I would say for that, you start talking about older people specifically. If you've been a hunter that you've been hunting for 40 years, you have a lifetime of knowledge and a lifetime of spots that you've accrued over a lifetime of hunting. And I would also say effort is another big word.
Yeah. On that too, though, like you got the August long days where they're up in the alpine, and then you got your October, November, December when they're in the rut. There's certain times in both of those times where you need to slow down, need to speed it up. Like August, September, you need to, unless you don't want to shoot anything in the alpine, then you need, then it's beat feet and get up to the top of the mountains so you can glass and sit behind your glass and let your glass do the walking. Versus when you're in the rut, you get to a big muskeg, and if you just sit and wait, blow on your call a little bit, or however you go about your hunting situation, then that's kind of different because you're sitting and waiting just in a probably different environment. So it's little different.
Yeah. Most of the bucks that I've shot have been in the morning in the alpine. Abby shot her goat in the evening, and we saw that really nice buck in the evening. Have you guys found any difference in what bucks come out in the morning versus the evening? More bucks in the morning or evening, or does it seem like most people just shoot in the morning because it's more convenient, and the evening just kind of sucks to hunt knowing it's going to get dark on the mountain? I
personally find that, I agree with what Ryan had to say the other day. Is we see more bucks generally in the morning. I will say that, but I also find it really, really hard to burn the candle on both ends. Like, you go out August 1st around here, what do you get? 18 hours of daylight? That's a lot of time to stay awake and still be.
You gotta have your naps.
I wish I could nap.
If the tent wasn't so hot in August, then you can do that. But then it just gets too hot during the day in August.
Yeah, you just roast in the tent sometimes. Yeah.
Terrible.
It's either roast or get eaten alive.
But for a majority, I think, of my deer, I've shot them in the morning. And I don't know if that's just because you're out there in the morning. This particular time, and a couple times before in the past, I like being it was foggy up until 1:30, when it started breaking, and then we were able to start glassing. And I don't know if the deer were bedded down until it started clearing up a little bit, or if they had been up all morning because it was foggy. But I just like being up there after a storm clears or the fog clears, and then it's okay, it's go time because we can see now, whether that be in the morning or in the evenings. It just so happened this time was later in the evening, so afternoon. So just works out.
I've personally had better luck alpine hunting in general when there is high overcast or fog involved. I find that heat and the bugs that usually come along with the heat, especially in early August, will drive those deer into the timber. At 5 a.m. before you even really have a chance to locate or get a chance at one.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah, those weather breaks are really nice when it's kind of foggy, but it's going to lift and you can kind of time it. Obviously, it's not 100%, not scientific, but at least knowing that that's going to happen, can be really encouraging. But it's also, I think, who you hunt with and what you learn, it plays a big role in it too. So if you grow up hunting and you learn from people, like you said, someone with 40 years of experience, if that's who you're learning from, you can fast track a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely intuition that you have to build. There's no replacement for experience, but you can definitely maybe not make some of the mistakes that other people did, and you can learn, get some insight from some people who really know what they're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, when I grew up, I learned hunting from my family. So my dad and my older brother, and I will say the patience thing is something that you was not blessed upon my family. And sometimes that being said, the standard was put pretty low for the caliber of deer that we, or at least I took for a long, long time. I mean, I'd still shoot a spike.
Well, yeah, even now, I mean, yeah, we're talking about we have shot big deer this trip. We have shot decent deer in the past, but we don't have a big wall of 4x5s and 4x4s and 3x3s on our walls. I mean, I have shot a lot of forked horns because I'm a meat eater. And
same here.
And I love hunting deer. It just so happens that what was presented in front of us this time, they were beautiful bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to shoot them. But yeah, we are no means. Well, at least I'm not a trophy hunter. I know he's not a trophy hunter. So we just shot some nice deer this trip. Now next trip, we could shoot some forked horns, and they're just gonna eat just as good.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Certainly not picky, but I think also the standards kind of change. And it's funny because I was talking with a friend earlier today. I was like, well, the standards kind of change depending on how far we are into the season versus, and goes along with that how full my freezer is of venison. Right. So, and depending on where you're going too. So, that's always fluctuating. I feel, because I'm not gonna not shoot a deer just because he's not a 4x4.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have a small frame 4x4 that's just a 2-3 year old deer, and he's just bloomed out really good, but he doesn't have any mass, and he's just a small frame deer. But I mean,
let him grow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still probably shoot it, but
yeah, depends on the situation.
They eat good. They and they're fun to hunt. So just so happens like I said, this time we just shot some decent deer. So
that's good.
It was a lot of fun, and we got humbled on the pack out. I don't know if I said it, but Sunday it was just supposed to be cloudy. Well, that was wrong. It was raining pretty much the whole time. It was on and off throughout the whole time, but we were in our rain gear the entire time until we were about probably about half a mile from when we were almost done with the hunt. With the pack out, and then it just cleared up.
Probably about 1,800 feet of elevation when it finally broke.
And it was just thick, like we could barely see 20 feet in front of us. But that could have helped. That couldn't have helped because the packs were so heavy. It was like, okay, we just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And then we got to keep going. So at one point we stopped for a break, and there was this creek running, and it was pouring down pretty good. But it was like, okay, we're gonna have some hot ramen and a good lunch, and then
there you go.
Gonna have some more caffeine and just get up and go.
Yeah.
So it took a lot to get back up and go.
that was about the halfway point. Yeah, and I was like, I do not want to put my pack on. And you're like, getting your pack on. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, here we go. No, I don't think you probably said the other F word. Here we go. Yeah. But no, it was a grind, which we knew it was going to be. Definitely not shooting 2 deer back in there again. That was oof. So draw straws for who shoots one back in there again. If we do go back in there again, we were contemplating on the way out. He kept bringing it up. Jake kept bringing it up.
I'd go back in a heartbeat.
When we go back up, I said, Jake, let's just focus on getting up this damn hill and back to camp, okay? Well, no, but I'm just saying. I understand that. But we can't fall off this cliff right now.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
He was worried about falling off the cliff. I didn't care. If that pack falls on me, just end it quick.
Yeah. And if I fall, then he gets my Swaro. So he didn't care either way.
Yeah.
So it was great. It's great for him. Yeah. But,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got to meet wife for dinner, so appreciate your time. Any closing thoughts?
Get out and have fun.
Get out and have fun. Okay.
Yeah. Don't fall off cliffs.
Don't fall off cliffs.
Yeah.
Standard sage advice from locals.
Yep. Probably don't shoot 2 big deer in a 1 deer spot. That's probably the best advice right there.
Yeah. At least for now, until next year when he drags you back up, right?
Well, yeah. And then we'll both go back in there, and then we'll shoot too. Cry over again.
Cool.
Oh well.
Only time will tell.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.